Hi, Kate. All right. Hi, Kate.
What's up, girl?
You know,
where you been?
I know we haven't recorded for 2 weeks. I missed you.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I think today we're going to dedicate the whole show to what happened.
I have missed your face. Miss it.
So is it okay to start with the first week we didn't record and why?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of your stuff.
Oh, I was unprepared.
I mean, I was just going to say, okay, let's skip the do you have your shit together this week, because that's basically all we're going to talk about. We're just going to talk about that. And 2 weeks ago, you sort of had the blues. We logged on, but we just kind of didn't have it in us to do the show. And we spent that time instead working on something productive for you, to support you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. That just
it's been 2 weeks.
Been wild lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think okay, so I had the blues as I've been battling for the past few weeks, and part of it's anxiety related, and part of it's I lost a vital organ related, and trauma surgery related, and there's just like it brought up so many things. And one of the things it brought up was my scarcity issues, because I haven't been able to work. And I'm working now. Oh my God, am I ever? So, but I hadn't been able to. And so, my savings disappeared, and I'm like, feed family, pay rent. I'm gonna feed the family. Sorry. And so it's been intense. And you helped me by helping me to sorry, there are fuzzies. You helped me by filling out some applications for housing, financial assistance with housing, which hopefully is being processed.
Good.
Yes, hopefully. I don't know. I hope so. Same with the food stamps reapplication. I mean, I've been reapplying for that since April, when they were like, we need a pay stub from your son who's a lifeguard while he's in high school, because I'm sure that makes a significant impact on your income. I'm like, no, he's a teenager. That's going to his snacks and gas. That's where that money goes, I'm sure. But, and sometimes his gym membership, when he remembers that he can pay for that. Like, how about a contribution to your gym membership this month, dude? Oh yeah, I'll remember, Mom. He does. Eventually. It's fine. It's only $20, but still, So you helped me with that, and I
was thinking of another resource you could look into.
Yeah.
I know my church and churches in Maryland do rental assistance for like one-off crises like this, and we get the request from a social services entity. I don't know which one. One of them in our county will contact us and say there's a person who has a need, and we'll just say how much, and we just give it over so the person can catch up on their rent. So and it's immediate, like you don't have to wait for the bureaucracy because it's from a church. So I had meant to I thought about it really hard for 2 weeks, like Googling for you local churches near you to see if there was a program like that near you. And I didn't actually Google it, but that's something we could look into too, if you need something still and quicker.
Thank you. That's really sweet.
Yeah.
It's
just scary. It's scary, right? I mean, not being able to, like, feeling like you're not going to be able to keep a roof over your children's head is the scariest feeling that I've ever felt.
And to be honest, really, my landlord is not the problem. I just paid August's rent in its entirety, finally, yesterday, September 1st. Do I have rent for September? No way! I just finished paying August's rent. Yeah. But as long as I keep in contact with him through the management company, they're like, you're a great tenant. And I'm like, I don't know what your basis for comparisons is, but I'm sorry. but yeah, they think I'm a great tenant. They're happy to work with me, and that's wonderful. It's it's the electricity bill and the internet, and they don't need heat, but
Well, I mean, it's also when you're trying to pay September's rent in September and get October's rent together, it's like a cascading financial effect that impacts Christmas,
everything,
Thanksgiving, and your ability to take a vacation, and your ability to replenish your savings, and maybe fix the car if it breaks down with savings. And like, it's just this like cascading. I'm sorry, I'm making your anxiety worse. I'm just trying to emphasize for our viewers.
To take care of my car. It needs an oil change, and the transmission's angry, but the transmission's going to have to wait or blow up. So
yeah, I mean, I just wanted to emphasize like how that, like, even like, don't minimize the fact that it's just one rent payment and that the landlord's chill. Like, it still is a heavy burden to bear. It is a very heavy burden to bear. And even if you caught up on it in 2 weeks, you still have to get October together in 2 weeks. And that's a significant hardship.
It is. And there's, like you said, there's so much more going on besides rent. The rent is like the least of my problems. Like there's a lot going on. So there's that. And so I've been shifting between paying attention to it and studiously not paying attention to it, because I can work every time I get some work.
There's a reason why it's called the Serenity Prayer. It's because it's supposed to bring peace into your life, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's like, let go of the stuff you don't control, that you can't control, and just focus on the stuff you can control. And sometimes the only thing you can control is, right now, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take a deep breath, and I'm going to go have some fun.
Sometimes that's really possible. And I've been trying to do that too. But I think that's when it's just anxiety and not depression. When depression hits, I can't do anything. And there have been times where I've just been sitting in my room, not able to do anything for hours. I just can't do anything for hours. And so I'm beating myself up for not doing anything.
Yes.
While I sit there paralyzed and unable to do anything.
Yes.
And I feel like a horrible person, and I feel like what's the point? And I know all of these things logically can be argued, but you can't logical arguments make no difference to your feelings.
Yeah.
Not in the slightest. And so, I've had to call in for reinforcements a couple of times, and
it looks like your therapy cat just arrived, because and my therapy cat just made an appearance. I don't know if you saw her real quick. Spitfire is like very tuned into emotions and gets very upset when people are sad. And I think she heard your sad voice and ran up to the office, which she's never done during the podcast before.
Oh,
not for cats.
I didn't expect feelings to come all of a sudden either. So it was a surprise to me too.
Yeah.
But Umbra can't hear anything anymore, but she always knows when somebody is sad. If I have a guest, or if it's just hi, or if it's just me.
Maybe she can smell it. I know dogs can smell emotions and sickness. Maybe cats can too. I have a theory though that cats are telepathic.
They are, for sure.
The way that my cats stare at me, like, how are you not hearing what I'm saying to you with my mind, you feeble human?
You feeble mortal.
And the way that they'll just like look at each other and then dash off together, like they just had a conversation about what to do and now they're going to go do it. Like, I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure that they speak with their minds.
Yeah. Kitty cats are like that. They're wild, telepathic creatures that cannot be tamed. She likes to come in. This room that I'm in is my bedroom, and also my office, and also my massage room. I just flip my bed into a futon, as you see here. And when I have a client who needs a little something extra, not just like the physical, but like they're emotionally overwrought, she will scratch at the door till I open it.
Oh.
If it's okay with my client, and she'll get up on the massage table and like sleep on their low back or their crotch or whatever, or their chest, whatever warm spot is available. And they're like, oh, Reiki kitty.
No, seriously, once or twice when my friend Nikki was doing Reiki on me, when I was very upset about something, her cat Nietzsche ran into the room and jumped up and like nestled onto my like legs and laid there and purred really hard while she was doing Reiki. And it was like the most amazing Reiki experience of my life, both times.
Please be like that sometime. Yeah.
Also, when I was in the throes of my depression, which we'll talk about when we're done with your stuff, Shion came up one day and just curled up right next to me, which she never does. She's not a cuddly cat unless she wants something. She's a little diva. She'll cuddle the heck out of you if she wants you to do something for her. But out of nowhere, it wasn't food time. It wasn't, anything like that. She just came up, she cuddled up against me, and she stayed there for like an hour and a half, just purring her heart out. And I can't tell you how much better it made me feel.
I've read several somewheres that cats purr at a healing vibration.
Yes.
I don't know if that's bullshit or not, but it sounds really cool. So I'm accepting it.
I read it in Margaret Atwood's series about Orcs and Crake because they were bioengineering animals in that series, and a whole new breed of humans, and the humans could purr to heal each other. The new humans, the children of Crake.
That sounds
it's a really cool series.
Really cool. And
Yeah. So I don't know if it's true either, since my entire basis is some like dystopian, futuristic novel from Margaret Atwood. But Margaret Atwood is like the queen, so I believe everything she says. But yeah, I know when I had COVID and I was coughing in the middle of the night, I was so tired I couldn't even get up to drink water or take medicine. But like I also couldn't stop coughing and sleep. And Shion both nights came and like curled up on my throat and purred really hard until I stopped coughing and went back to sleep. So I believe it's true. I have scientific proof now that her purring made my coughing stop and I went back to sleep. I mean, it was probably just the heat of her body on my throat, but still, I don't
also
care.
been the purring.
Yeah.
It could be both.
It could be both.
I accept it. When I was at probably my deepest, darkest spot a couple of weeks ago, my friend, I called, well, I didn't call. I can't talk to people on the phone. So I texted my friend River and I was like, I need some help. Dan. Like I can't even, like, you know how verbose I am. I can go on and on and on. I'm the definition of loquacity, but loquaciousness, whatever. Anyway, I talk a lot, but I was just all out of words. And she told me, drink some water, take some Advil, because Advil has been proven to help in, it's an anti-inflammatory, and depression has for some reason scientifically proven to be related to inflammation.
Oh, wow.
So Advil is like, it's like a tiny little microdose of antidepressant. And I was like, okay. So I took it. And then she's like, put food in your face and get moving. Put on dance music and get moving. I'm like, I don't fuck dance music. She's like, no, for real. You were just talking about how your garbage is overflowing. Why don't you take care of your garbage with music on? I was like, fine. So I did, because I have a Dancing Pansy mix, I got my playlist. I put it on and I was like, this is annoying. Annoying, and I don't like it. I love it, and she's like, and take a shower. So like she helped me through it, and she got me this like list. And it was because I had like a bullet points of stuff that I had to do. It got me moving and feeling better. And then once I had that list, I was so converted by the idea of having this list that I could just get to, that I thought I was in the clear, and I got my supplements, and my supplements are like St. John's wort and some other stuff. And that's working if I remember to fucking take it. So I had to readjust, because there were a couple days where I just forgot to do my list, or forgot to do the eating part, or forgot to do the music part, or just forgot to do parts that were pretty essential. So now I have an alarm on my phone that goes off 10 minutes after Sammy is supposedly picked up by the bus. It's like, hydrate, get moving, eat food, take your medicine. So,
and I mean, and ideally,
that's been helping a lot.
Someone would probably say to you, I just realized, Frank, I just realized that I did not change my little name here, so maybe we could blur that out until I change it. I don't
Well,
want
that's
people
a
to know
lot
my
of your
work.
name. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
it's where I work, so you could totally dox me with that. Not that anyone watches these videos, but there we
They
go.
might
So
want
Frank, if you could blur that out until now, yeah. Also, I don't want any of my views or opinions on this podcast to be associated with my workplace, because that's one of the very few things that I might get in trouble for at work, which is what I was going to bring up now, which was two things. Number one, a coach or some sort of like mental health professional or doctor might say to you, well, why don't you get up 15 minutes earlier before the boys wake up and take care of eating, drinking, and supplements then? And it's like, you know what? Why didn't I think of that? Isn't that brilliant? I can't. If I could do that, right? If I could do that, I wouldn't be in this situation. I wouldn't feel the way I feel. Like, this is
like, did you even
like, come on,
go through school, doctor?
Right. If I could drag myself out of bed before I absolutely have to be out of bed, that would mean I'm not feeling depressed.
Right. And honestly, that did occur to me, and I did try to do it, but because we're just now leaving the first month of school, and Sammy's anxiety has been, it gets really high at nighttime for some reason. And in the morning he has anxiety. He seems to do okay once he's at school, but like nighttime can be rough because he has a hard time falling asleep. So every single morning he's in my bed when I wake up. He gets in my bed around 6 o'clock because I've had to make some rules. So I'm like, you are not allowed in my bed at 4 a.m. or 3 or 2 a.m. You aren't allowed to snuggle up with me until 6. Now, I would love to wake up at like 6:30 or 7 o'clock and get going.
There.
He's already there, and he's really cuddly, and he really wants the cuddles. That's why he's in the bed with me. And I'm like, no, this is what a good mother does. I'm going to snuggle my son. Because
it is what a good
mother does. Isaac doesn't care. Isaac's getting ready for school all by himself, and he's making his own breakfast because he's 18. And I'm like, this child, my 18-year-old, he likes to leave a half an hour before he needs to be somewhere.
Oh my God. What a weirdo.
What a freak. I don't know. Like, his job is 15 minutes away, and he will leave 45 minutes before he needs to be there.
I don't understand that.
It only takes him 15 minutes to drive there, and he's like going to be there 20 minutes early or something. And I'm like, good job, son.
I've read that people with ADHD show up places late because on a subconscious level, we know it's a waste of time to be earlier on time. It's just not a good use of time because the rest of the world never starts
for me, man. Oh, I know.
Like people never start anything on time anyway. And even if they do, it's nothing that I need to know or hear. Intros are bullshit. They're like that fluff of life that people waste time on. I'm not showing up until you get to the meat and the potatoes of whatever's going on.
Meat and potatoes, please. I think, well, unfortunately, I treated my job like that as well. I'm like, listen, my clients don't get there until at best 3 minutes after their appointment starts. At best. And a lot of my clients get there like 5 minutes after their appointment starts because apparently they just don't want a full 50 minutes of massage, right? So I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to show up 3 minutes before my shift starts because it only takes like 3 minutes to get my room ready.
Yeah.
Why should I be there 15 minutes ahead of time?
Yeah.
I don't. And that was like like I worked for a certain massage place for 12 years. And every time it was like the yearly interview where they're like, you're really great and you bring in clients, but you're never on time. I'm like, I'm always on time. I'm just not. And that will not change. And they're like, also, you always hack up and dye and do weird stuff to your uniform. Stop doing that. I'm like, no, I'm not going to stop doing that. I'm not. And my boss is like, it's true.
Oh my gosh.
Just don't make it sexy.
I know that you don't watch a lot of TV, but
I love
to. I love Schitt's Creek so much. And if you ever, they're quick. They're like 20 minutes long. You've seen it. Okay. Okay, good. So
I've
you've
seen
seen the
enough to know
episode
what you're
where
talking
Alexis Rose starts working in the vet clinic and she shows up with her scrubs chopped off into booty shorts?
Ew. The whole point of the scrubs is to protect you from filth.
That's exactly what Ted explains to her.
That's what they're for. They're to protect your body.
Yeah, I love that. I love that show so much.
Like at work, I had some coworkers that would, instead of wearing like khakis, gross, who wants to wear khakis? Or no offense to those who like them, but they're disgusting, really. Come on, let's be honest. But like, so I would wear like black yoga pants that look kind of like uniform pants, like they're wide legs, so they almost sort of from a distance look like office pants, except they're comfy because they're made of spandex. And I would wear those or like a capri version of those, right? Because I don't want to get cream on clothes that I care about. But some of my coworkers would wear straight up leggings, you know, like just clinging to every curved leg. And I'm like, you look good. Do you want to look good though? But if you that's cool though. Support.
Well, now I mean, I know you love talking about clothing and fashion, but I'm going to bring this back to our topic of depression. I had one more point. I just had one more point I wanted to make about your depression, which is that, and if we have any like, well, we don't have anybody watching us who's of that political leaning, so I'm just going to say it. I think that our society is a little upside down in that someone who busts their ass and works really hard like you and just like kills yourself trying to like make ends meet. I mean, you work really hard physically and you work all the time and you do a really important service for people. I mean, you make so little and there are no benefits to your job, whether you're working for a place or, I mean, you probably could get a job working, I don't know, in some physical therapy suite and get some benefits, but then I wouldn't pay. Right. But then I have this job where it feels very easy. It's the easiest job I've ever had. I am not working hard. I'm working 40 hours a week. And I guess I'm doing important work. I mean, I'm prepping executives for panels for a big event next week. I'm writing their talking points. I'm writing their speeches. I'm attending meetings about these panels, but like I'm sitting in a chair and I'm typing and I'm like getting up and using the bathroom whenever I want, eating whenever I want, taking a break when I want, wearing whatever I want. There are no demands on me, none, like none. And I have the best pay and health insurance known to mankind. When I show up at the doctor and show them my insurance card, they roll out the red carpet and say, would you like any extra tests today? Can we get you a glass of champagne? Can we rub your feet? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. And even in my own life, like I started at the bottom, like receptionist, and I've worked my way up to senior communication specialist. And it is like the lower the position, the harder I worked. I mean, I worked my butt off in those days when I started. I worked my butt off and I was getting paid nothing. I had the worst benefits because I was still a contractor. I didn't work for Uncle Sam yet. And like, I was struggling. So hard in those days. And I worked harder than I ever worked before. And it's like every time I got a promotion and the pay and the benefits got better, the work got easier. And I felt like less was expected of me. And it doesn't make sense to me that the harder you work in our country, the less you get paid and the less likely you are to have benefits. That makes no sense to me, that the more you get paid and the better benefits you get, the easier your job is. To me, that is so backwards. And I'm bringing this up because I have access to mental health care, professional medical mental health care with professional medical, scientifically tested, experts, prescriptions, anything I want at my fingertips. I have it. Anything I want to try for my brain chemicals, I have it. And my copays are like $1.25 for 3 months worth of my anti-anxiety, anti-depression medication.
Can't wrap my head around that.
Right. and like I've been where you are with depression. My depression started when I was at a job that had no health insurance, and I was making $12.50 an hour, and I had to pay for everything out of pocket.
Yeah.
And that was at the daycare. And honestly, like I said, the receptionist job was the hardest one I've had. I meant in the federal government, it was the hardest job I had. The daycare job was the hardest job I ever had in my whole life.
That is the weirdest thing, that the most important jobs like daycare and teachers and healthcare, you know, and I don't mean the doctors, they're getting paid out the wazoo, but
the
like
people who take the blood pressure and check
nurses.
your vitals and, and
the
clean your
people
room, the people,
take my blood or whatever.
right.
They get paid garbage, and there's not enough of them. And I've been experiencing that with my dad in the rehabilitation nursing home, that they just, once his insurance changed, his care changed dramatically. And I won't get into it because it's horrible and it's despicable. And I know the people taking care of him have got to feel how horrible and despicable it is, but they have so many patients and they have so few workers, and they're all getting overworked and underpaid. And that's an important job. That's a vital job. And same with teachers. Their work doesn't end when school gets out at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. They have to keep planning for things. And it's not just all week, it's during the weekend, and they get paid garbage.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah.
And yet we have football players being paid stupid amounts of money to play a game. No offense, if you like that game, I support you, but it's still a game. I'm
not even just talking football players and entertainers. I'm not even talking that. Like, yes, that's a whole nother issue that is completely upside down. Like, you know, I could go on for days about that inequity. I'm talking like people who are high up in corporations and in government jobs who do very little, but sit around and talk about the stuff that other people are going to have to do.
Yeah.
You know, the quote unquote leaders and the people who support them, the people who support the leaders like me. I mean, our jobs are very easy, very easy. I mean, yeah, I'll probably still be working this afternoon when other people have been dismissed from work early because it's a holiday weekend. I might put in some hours this weekend, but there are plenty of times where I get to quit, you know, a little early and start a little late because my job is so flexible and so relaxed. And like, yeah, we have a big event we're prepping for, so I might put in a little more hours this week. But guess what? Next week, when they're all at the event, I have a much easier week. I just sit in my chair and I type and I talk. That's all I have to do. And that is, I mean, I don't know, maybe that's hard for some people. Maybe I'm not, I don't know. I just think
it's hard for some people. You're very skilled at it.
But if Abby didn't have me preparing her talkers for a panel next week, she could still answer the questions.
You make it easier. Huh?
Yeah, I just make her job easier. Like, Addie is a very smart, intelligent executive. When she's at the panel next week and they ask her, how do we increase diversity in aviation? Like, I'm sorry, that's going to be super easy for her to answer. That's not
answer that.
She doesn't need me. She does. I'm not needed. I'm not needed. You are needed. When people are injured, they need you to provide relief from their pain. Mm-hmm. When I worked at the daycare, I was needed. Those people needed someone to watch their children so they could go and teach other people's children and fight fires and develop new processes for computer programming and important things that our society needs. I'm not needed. And I have the cushiest job with the best benefits I've ever had. And the inequity of it, I see you struggle. I remember when I used to struggle like that and what it felt like. And to me, it feels very unfair. And I know life isn't fair and you got to suck it up and move on. But I don't know. Maybe we should get married on paper so you can have my health insurance. I don't know.
Well, I think my wife in Sweden would be upset about this.
Well, before we transition to my adventures in depression, was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Just to say that in spite of inequities which I don't think about that sort of thing anymore. There's always a way to make things happen the way you want them to happen. There's always a way. And you just have to think outside the box. And I've been living my life outside the box since I was born. So I get frustrated with the system sometimes, but at the same time, I'm like, this is an opportunity for problem solving. How can I get my needs met in a way that other people can? How can I make this happen? And it's the same thing with my son's education. He's had such a hard time because of the pandemic, and the school's just trying to plow ahead like the pandemic never happened. If you want to repeat a grade because of the pandemic, you don't get any sports for the rest of your high school career.
Oh
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. And like all sorts of other things. I'm like, he didn't choose to repeat that grade because he was a delinquent or because he started fires or something. He chose to repeat it because that was a garbage year with the pandemic. Okay. And he doesn't learn well online. He chose to repeat it so he could get good grades. And the school's like, sorry, that's just the way it is. That's the rules. I'm like, rules are just words you put on paper. You can change it because you're the one that made the rule.
Wow.
Also, it's not really a rule. He didn't do anything. Anyway, I could go on forever. The point is, there are ways to get what you need. There are ways to pull out of your depression if you have tribe who are looking in on you, because I do. Mm-hmm. And you're part of my tribe, and you've looked in on me, and my other friends have looked in on me. And even when I didn't feel like doing anything for myself, and I wanted to stop doing things, I was encouraged to keep going, and I was given tools, and I know tools. I'm a life coach on top of everything else. I know these tools, but when your brain isn't working because of depression, you forget all about your tools, and you forget about everything except, wouldn't it be great to just not
look, Kate,
anymore?
I'm trained in CPR, but if I stopped breathing, I could not administer CPR to myself.
Right?
Just because you're a coach and you know the tools doesn't mean that you can apply them to yourself.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Because I felt really bad about that after I was reminded of the tools. I was like, shit, I know all these things. I have told other people these things so many times, and I forgot them because my brain just wouldn't work. My brain just wasn't working.
You need someone else to help you when you're in that pit. You need someone.
And that's why so important, and why isolation is probably, I think that was the biggest hardship of the pandemic, is the isolation. Because when we're isolated, when we're not keeping track of each other, this tribe can dissolve. Mm-hmm. I think in my case, luckily, my tribe strengthened.
That's awesome.
We were all concerned, still are, all concerned with each other, always checking in on each other. How you doing today? I heard you got COVID the other day. I'm like, yeah, I got COVID again, so I'm depressed. So like, do you want me to drop groceries off on your doorstep or whatever? We mm-hmm. look after each other. And I think the people who didn't have tribe at the beginning of the pandemic were failed.
Yeah.
It's just the society failed them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna try and plug in my laptop real quick so it doesn't die while we're talking. If I look weird on screen for a second. I'm still paying attention now.
I like your stripy shirt.
Oh, thanks, Torrid. This podcast is brought to you by Torrid. They don't make that in your size. That's what we say to the skinny girls. That's what I say to all the skinny girls when they say, oh, I love those leggings. Where'd you get them? Oh, I got them at Torrid. They don't make them in your size.
Only the thick need apply. Only the thick and juicy can receive leggings such as these.
So there is the explanation for why we didn't release a podcast the first Monday we didn't release
now
one.
Tell me about you, because when you get depressed, you go MIA. I have had to ask your brother how you're doing, who had to ask your son how you're doing. We didn't know. You disappeared. You got snapped by Thanos. I don't know what happened. And I'm like, I don't know. I hope she's okay. What if she's not okay? Because I'm the one that has trouble showing up on Friday.
Sorry, go ahead.
Like, I'm the one that like struggles to show up anywhere within the 15-minute time range of on time on Fridays. And I half the time forget I have the podcast till the alarm goes off 45 minutes before the podcast. And Frank and I were just sitting around like, it's like quarter after. where's our fearless leader? Where's the boss? Like, you're the one that leads the charge. And so panic stations.
So see,
And then we heard through your son that like, you're just not communicating right now. And I was like, oh, Bibi is depressed. So
I was
tell
so
me the
depressed.
story. Oh,
I would say it was probably the biggest bout of depression that I've ever had, probably in my entire life, but at least since 2011, when I first got hit with depression for the first time in my life. So my depression is hormone related at the moment. I've had clinical depression before. I've had situational depression. For viewers, clinical depression is when you just have a chemical imbalance and there's no reason for your depression other than your chemicals are off and you're not making enough serotonin. And situational depression is when life sucks and you're depressed for a reason, you know. Your brain chemicals are fine, but you just legitimately are having a feeling of depression for a legitimate reason because things are depressing, right? Yeah. Right now, probably since I was about 38. So to our viewers who don't like talking about the female reproductive system, you might want to fast forward a couple minutes because guess what?
we're going to talk about blood.
Yeah, women menstruate, get over it. If it makes you uncomfortable to hear it, how do you think it makes us feel to have to go through it? It's much more uncomfortable living it than hearing us talk about it. So suck it up, Manny Cruz. Sorry, Manny. Called you out by name.
Targeting brought to you by Taurus.
This targeted attack has been sponsored by. Oh man. See, I already feel so much better just by doing this. And see, depression keeps you from doing the things that will make you feel better. So frustrating.
That's why depression is an asshole.
So since about 38, I have entered perimenopause. And yes, I know that's early, but some women enter it that early, and everyone on my dad's side goes into perimenopause very early. Yes. And when I started having my womenly time of the month,
Aunt Flo came to visit.
I've always had it very easy as far as my period. Like, I have a very efficient uterus. It cramps really hard and painful for one day, and I hemorrhage to the point where we're talking super plus tampon plus an overnight pad lasts me 45 minutes. I'm in and out of the bathroom all day long and ruining every pair of underwear I own.
Relatable.
For one day. The next day things get normal and taper off, and that's usually it. Sometimes we go into day 3, but probably not. Usually it's a 2-day period.
I feel like
my whole life.
I feel like that should be looked into.
I've also delivered all my babies very quickly. I think it has to do with EDS. Like, labor and delivery was always very easy for me. I think it's one of those things of like loose body makes everything come out faster.
Nice.
But yeah, it's but the flip side is I always had 7 to 10 days of debilitating PMS. And PMS is much harder because a lot of people don't believe it. They don't believe PMS is real, right? And they feel like, and I'll get people saying things to me like I'll say, I'm sorry. Not for a while, but like previous to sobriety, previous to perimenopause, my PMS would manifest as violent rage. And my skin and every nerve ending in my body for 7 to 10 days vibrates like it is on fire. Like, it is like it's like as if my nerve endings are annoyed and I'm feeling the annoyance of every single nerve ending and skin cell in my entire body.
That's horrible, Beck.
So any sensory, anything on top of that makes me flip my lid for like no reason. Like, Mike would come up and touch me on the back and I would like scream at him, don't touch me. I mean, and then we get in a huge fight about it, right? Because I'm like,
was it like that when you were a teenager?
Yes. My mom and I
remember that.
My mom and I would fight to the point where she would kick me out of the house 1 month, 1 week of the month, every month of the entire year that we lived together while I was menstruating. We got to the point where we track each other's cycles because of course we were synced up, and we would know like, okay, let's not be around each other because we're going to fight so bad, right? Like, we would, or usually afterwards, like, oh, I got my period, I feel better now. Sorry, we fought last week, right? Yeah. So I got used to that. I got like sobriety really helped me. I would know, like, I would feel it, but it wouldn't come out. Like once I had sobriety, I would feel it, but it wouldn't come out because like sometimes doing your step 10 is a pain in the butt, like admitted when we were wrong and promptly made amends for it. Like restraint of pen and tongue is a phrase that I really relied on to get through those weeks of violent rage. But very quickly after I got sober, I entered perimenopause and it flipped into abject depression and even suicidal ideations. And I had to go back on antidepressants because of it. Because even though I would only be depressed 1 week out of the month,
it was a powerful depression.
You still have to take antidepressants every day of the month to treat that 1 week. There's no antidepressant yet that you can take just that 1 week. So now we're adding on top of that, my cycle is starting to decline. It is highly irregular. Sometimes I go 3 to 6 months without having a period, which means hopefully that means we're almost at the end of this bullshit. So I never know when that week is coming. So there's no way to prepare for it. Also, now that I'm on the antidepressants, they really take the edge off and it's just not that bad. It's just not that bad anymore. And like, I'll notice like, oh, I'm not showering as much and I feel a little blah. But, I'm still, the antidepressants keep me here. And when I'm here, I can like do those things you talked about very easily. I can apply them to myself because I'm not at the not breathing level of needing CPR done to me. I'm at like I'm feeling dizzy. I should sit down and put my head between my legs before I pass out level, right? Like I can still help myself.
Do something to help myself, right. Even if it's not much. And if I can do a little, then eventually I can do.
Right. So last week, sometime Wednesday, out of nowhere, this depression hit me like a Mack truck. And I was immobilized. Yeah. And I knew right away that I had to tell you and Frank that I could not podcast this week. And I couldn't even pick up my phone and send a text. I couldn't even pick up my phone and read the text messages that were coming through. I couldn't answer my phone. I was struggling to just keep my laptop from locking during the day at work. And on Friday, when I just laid down in bed with my laptop next to me and my laptop locked, I didn't even have the energy to unlock it. And I missed a staff meeting. And my boss had to text me on my phone to ask me to do my time and attendance because I just wasn't even online anymore. So when I did my time and attendance, I went back and put in 5 hours of leave for that afternoon because I didn't even have my laptop unlocked. There was no way in good conscience that I could like bilk the government for that time. I was going to use sick leave, but I knew if I used sick leave, I would feel like I had to, and I don't have to explain why. This is how crazy depression is. I could have used sick leave and not explained why I was using it. Mm-hmm. But my depression told me if you use sick leave, you're going to have to tell your boss why you're sick and justify that depression is an illness, just like any, and not true. They're not allowed to ask us why we're using our leave because we have a union. And second, like she would get it. I have the best in the world and she would get it. If I said I'm struggling with depression, she would have said, yes, use your sick leave. Like, so, but my depression lies to me. It lies to me.
It's a liar and an asshole.
It wants me to suffer. And when I'm in it, I believe everything it says. I believe everything it says. I believe Kate and Frank are mad at me and they're never going to speak to me again. And like already when I come out of it, I'm like, Kate and Frank were worried. They were scared to death because I never behaved like this and they didn't know what happened. Yeah. But depression tells me Frank and Kate are mad at you. They don't believe you. They hate you. You've ruined everything. Like that's what depression says to me. And it was really hard. It was really hard and it was really scary. Yeah. And I didn't even know what to do about it because I was at that like not breathing point. I was at the point where I was not breathing and I needed somebody to do CPR to me. And when people reached out to try to help me, this is something that I realized as I was coming out of it, it made me really uncomfortable. Yeah. Since getting sober, I have this story that I tell myself about how I have to be the strong one and I have to help others. And it's not okay if people have to help me. And like Frank made me this beautiful video and first I didn't even want to watch it. And then when it was like, while I was watching the video and like welling up with tears in my eyes, that's when I realized like, it's okay to let your brother do nice things for you. That's normal. That's a normal thing to have a sibling worry about you and try to help you. And it's okay to accept help. And it was like really don't know. It still makes me a little squirmy inside, but like that's a message that I'm going to need to like internalize and feel in my bones and accept and integrate into my way of being, because I'm not like it's funny because when the next door neighbor Charlie was talking to me about Encanto and who she thought each of the
Oh my God, I
princesses
love
looked like,
Encanto.
I was like, do you think I look like, I don't remember the girl's name, the main character with the short hair and the glasses, because I had gotten a haircut like that recently. I'd gotten that like triangle curl
It's a
haircut.
really cute.
And she was like, she's like, no, I think you look like the strong one and you act like her too. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's right. I do act like the strong one.
I identified with Louisa so hard that like the first time I watched it with my boys, and they know this,
Yeah.
every time I watch a Disney or Pixar, they're like, do you need a tissue? I'm like, shut up.
Literally that song had me choked up. Like, oh my gosh.
I was not crying.
Yeah.
Not crying. Not
well,
crying.
I probably would have been too if I wasn't heavily medicated with the antidepressants, and I don't even need them 3 weeks out of the month. Yeah.
And then when I watched the beautiful sister, I was like, that's my Rosie.
Yes, that is your Rosie. Oh my gosh. So, but segueing away from generational trauma, because depression is an episode of our podcast. I like finally, like I knew I just had to ride this wave. I knew it was hormonal. I knew I would come out the other end. So what that looked like was I did have a commitment to see my mom and my nephew on Friday afternoon that I forgot about, and they showed up, and that was the most painful like 2 hours of my life, trying to like put on a happy face and just like speak and not be like a waking coma victim while they were at my house. And my mom kept getting closer and closer to me, and like I hadn't showered since Wednesday and I smelled bad because, like I was saying before we started, this is hormonal based. And so I know it's hormones because my sweat smell changes and I sweat more, and it's disgusting. It's gross. And I don't shower. And she keeps like trying to like, here, I want to show you this. I want to show you this. I can see it from here. I can see it from here. Don't get close. Of course, she could probably smell it the second she walked in the house because she's got this like supersonic nose. But and my mom is so kind and loving and did not say a thing. But yeah, just that was hard enough. But that kind of got me to the point where I was able to keep the second commitment on Saturday morning, which was going to brunch with Jenny, who we need to have on this podcast as a guest. And Jenny, I told her, I was like, Jenny, you are better than serotonin. And like,
some
she
people
just
are.
Yeah, she was just at this level of like snark and cynicism and negativity with enough humor that I was able to join her where she was, which was like a little higher than I was. And we were both like able to like lift each other up and feel better when we went away. It was wonderful. And I can't wait till we have her on our podcast. She's going to be a fantastic guest. And so yeah, that's when I started feeling better. And I wasn't all the way out, but I was feeling better. If I'd been out a little more, I could have done a little more catch up on the house, but I needed to just sort of like self-care Saturday and Sunday. So what happened on Monday morning was I was able to mobilize. I wasn't paralyzed anymore. So I was able to like be overwhelmed by all the work that I now needed to catch up on from the 3 days that I couldn't do anything but attend meetings and answer emails. And also, it's been a very busy week at work. Like I said, we're prepping for a big event next week and trying to catch up. So like, I still was having trouble like showering and sleeping this week, but it was for a different reason. It was like, because I was playing catch up. But I feel like really blessed and truly grateful that I have a job that supports me no matter what I'm going through. And I have benefits that support me no matter what I'm going through. So, I feel really lucky to be a person who struggles with depression, but has the support system she needs to live a good, happy life. So, you know, it wasn't a big deal. It felt like a big deal at the time. It was probably really scary for you and Frank, but it's over. I'm almost done playing catch up. I'm looking forward to a great weekend. I'm going to DC tomorrow to have brunch with my favorite Woodbridge crew. And then me and Ebony are going to go see Six, which I'm not really sure what it is, but it's about the 6 wives of Henry VIII. And I love them. I'm obsessed with them, but it's like sort of like updated. So they're like a girl band, like the Spice Girls, and they're all singing about their like, it's like going to a concert with the 6 wives of Henry VIII. I guess it's like a play / concert. I thought it looked sort of like Hamilton, but like Manny said, no, it's more like going to a concert. But I guess they're going to be singing about their stories in regards to Henry VIII. I don't know. Yeah, I'll let you know next week. And then Manny and Ray are going to go see Dear Evan Hansen, whatever that is. So yeah, I'm looking forward to a fun weekend. I have some other plans.
Excellent.
So yeah. So I'm feeling better. And I really miss doing this with you. And I'm glad that our first episode could just be discussing depression, because I think it's a really interesting and important topic.
Yeah.
And my next door neighbor was the person who was able to reach me. I don't know how, but mainly I think because she offered me food when Emmett needed food. So I was able to respond to her and say, I'm in a funk. I can't come get it. Emmett will come get it. I'm so grateful for her. And she was saying, like, don't be so hard on yourself. It's an illness. And she's right. It is an illness. It's just like any other illness we get. I mean, your brain is part of your body. So depression is a physical illness, just like bronchitis or the flu or anything else. But what I said to her was, yeah, but when I have the flu, I know how to hydrate and rest until I feel better. And right now I'm not doing any of the things I need to do to feel better. It's like, I know what you mean, Kate, about sitting there, not able to do the things that make you feel better and beating yourself up for it. So yeah, so thank God for you and Frank and my neighbor and my mom and Jenny and my kids. And yeah, I'm really glad that I'm on the other side of it now. And I hope it was a fluke. I hope this isn't like a new thing that's going to keep happening.
Yeah,
every month.
Same. Because that was intense for you. Yeah,
it wasn't fun. It was very scary. I would say though, I didn't have any suicidal ideations.
That's wonderful.
I think I was too paralyzed to even think about that, I guess.
Same.
It was like, yeah.
The closest I got to it during my depression was just like, everything could just stop. That would be great. Yeah. But like, not so far as how would I make everything stop? No, just like, if y'all could just shush. That'd be great.
Yeah. So mental health is important.
Very.
Yeah, viewers, if you'd like to share your mental health stories with us, email Kate back together at gmail.com. I think Frank will put it up.
I made a TikTok about it, so we can post that too.
Yes, we should post that. Absolutely. So yeah. I guess I thought I had one more thing to say, but it just fled my mind, so it must not be important.
Or you can add it later.
Oh. I bought myself these makeup brushes. I got a $10 gift card for donating blood, and I bought myself these makeup brushes, and I don't think they're very good, but I was going to ask you, like, what the heck are these things? Like, what are they for? What am I supposed to do with these?
I think it's like for blending contour and stuff.
I don't know, but they feel really cool, so I just keep playing with them.
Well, then just keep playing with them.
I think these are like supposed to clean the sponges, but I brushed the cat with this and he really liked it. So now this is like my cat toy. It's how I make Leo feel like I'm cleaning him like I'm his mommy. Because yes, crazy. So yeah, if anybody has any knowledge about what I'm supposed to do with like, also I was showing Frank before you signed on. This kit came with eight brushes for eyeshadow. 8.
It just seems like a lot.
I only even have 3 eyeshadow colors that I put on my lids. I mean, what the heck? Can someone explain this to me? What I'm supposed to do with all these brushes? I don't understand. Okay, I might use them for arts and crafts. I might paint a picture with them instead.
I would love to see that. I've been meaning to paint a picture with coffee for some time now. I just think it would be interesting.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah,
that'd be really fun. Yeah. I found these circle canvases that I didn't know what to do with. Maybe I'll try painting with coffee on them.
I don't know if it would work on a canvas, but it will work on paper for sure.
Okay.
Unless you make a paste out of it.
I was already thinking about that.
grounds, because that would be terrible texture. But like if you got instant coffee and mixed it with like coconut oil or something and make a paste.
Well, let's make this our mental health homework for the week, and anybody watching can join us. By next Friday, you should have tried an experimental creative thing.
Experimental medium.
Yes. And we'll show what we did next Friday if we remember to do it. And with that, until next week, keep your shit together.
Keep your shit together.
Wow. Oh, that felt really good. I'm so glad that we did that this week.
Me too. That felt really good.